there were two big stories that I was going to possibly tell in the first week, but I didn't. I didn't tell them. They're going to happen at some point, probably very soon. But here's the experiment. Oh, by the way, so rude of me. We're this far in. We're definitely at the end of the first week, and I have to wrap it up. The first file. Like, we're gonna have the full thing uncut. You've seen it all. By the end of this video you're watching right now, you will have seen the entirety if you've watched it all from the beginning of the week. This is the 5th installment of the first. What do you call it? Researchers are, when they do an experiment, there's a name for when you have the subject and you expose the subject to the medium, or okay, let's put the mouse in the maze, right? And then, so the trials. Oh, okay, yeah. So maybe this is the end of the first trial. Let's have another trial and see what happens. That doesn't quite capture the meaning I'm looking at, but because it's an ongoing experiment, there will be different installments. Like the first installment of the process that will be analyzed. It will be analyzed later because it can't be analyzed previously, so it's like redundant to even say it later. But it will be analyzed. It begins being analyzed, I guess, by someone immediately, like Mom. Here it is. Like, there's a certitude that somebody's going to watch it. Like, even if one person watches it, literally, to me, at the very least, from just talking to my mom, she understands every word I'm saying first, and she enjoys it. It's like if I called my mom and talked to her for an hour in a monologue once a week, or a short phone call every day, a 15-minute phone call or 10-minute phone call every day. But it's more like a monologue rather than a conversation. And that is an idea. I'm not going to say it. No, there's this other idea that I had that I'm going to self-edit right now and not say it. I never came out of the darkness. Not yet. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like, will you come out of the darkness? I do have to watch it back once. Okay, sorry. So I'm getting distracted. You can, because I'm just speaking extemporaneously, I'm speaking my thoughts. So you're actually going to, well, you have been all along. Self-diagnosis. All along, I have been just speaking my thoughts, right? So you're reading my mind if you watched this whole week, right? You read my mind for an hour, right? I have not, obviously there's been some preparation going into this. There's been a lot of preparation going into this. And man, if the video quality of this is substandard, oh well, right? It'll change. It's really about what I'm saying. But at least there is some creative medium. Like, I found I don't know, laboratory. Found a little lab where I can disappear into the darkness. But the light is always there. My mom is gonna love this shit. Ooh, there. Okay. So, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to, at some point, obviously not in the first week, but maybe by next week, have an email address, right? Have an email address. So talk to the camera. I'll have an email address where You can ask questions. And ask me about cursing, right? I'll tell a story about the vow, right? Am I gonna do that? There's a vow I thought about. And so, since this is extemporaneous, you can make decisions and be held accountable, right? In the moment. When you're not speaking out loud, you can think better about ideas you have, right? If you're mistaken about things, if you're thinking things that are incorrect, which we all do, we all have incorrect assumptions about any number of things. We're all wrong. It's not our fault that we're wrong. It's just the information that's been presented to us in our life. That's all we have to work with. If we're not encouraged to research anything ourselves, the history, like look into what really happened. Is it possible to even know, right? Ooh, there it is. So ask me any of these questions once we have the email set up. I'm hinting at some of the discussion that's going to happen inevitably, because those are the things I've been thinking about, right? I'm just going to talk about things I've been thinking about for 1 hour a week right now, and we'll see where it goes from there, but the experiment starts. The experiment has started, and I'm grateful for anyone that cares to watch it. There are a whole bunch of people that I've come into contact with as a result of this project. A whole lot of them. And it's impossible to keep everybody updated. Like, how do you filter through what you can tell different people, right? Everybody's got a different interest in this project, right? The great thing is there's a virtual unanimity among every single person I've talked to about this project. It's like, whoa, unanimity. Everybody agrees. Every person I've spoken to about this project agrees that it is a worthy endeavor, a worthy project. And I'm not talking about the podcast. I'm talking about the thing I'm working on, that the podcast is documenting right now. Okay, in the email, if I don't talk about it next week, remind me to talk about Peter Jackson's King Kong, what happened. For me, it was a seminal moment in my journey, but it was a long time ago. I mean, I'm going to tell the last 2 years, but if anybody even remembers that movie, it wasn't bad. But there's already been another King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong. Ooh, was that a Freudian slip? Hong? I said Hong instead of King. I didn't, if you've already been tracking the date, or if you pay attention to what's going on in your world at all, then that slip right there will mean something. Okay, so there's a lot to process here. If you want to, I don't know. I don't know who's going to gravitate to this. I don't know who this fan base is yet, but I think it'll start with some of the people that I've talked to about this project, some that are involved maybe with it. Fan base, right? Just saying, focus on that. It's like fans or followers, right? So some of this is going to be processed instantly, immediately. I mean, I know 2 people, right, that want it. But I could probably list maybe 100 that I've come into contact with in the past 2 years. But they're also connected to so many more like-minded individuals as well. So I don't know. It's going to be a challenge. Oh, and it's hot in here. I gotta open that door. There's a door back there. There's light at the end. No, actually, there's light everywhere. All the time. Just open her eyes and look around. Oh, geez. Back to the metaphors. I want to leave off this week with one very, very important message. Words come out of your mouth. are you. The words that come out of your mouth are you. Why are you saying the things you're saying? Even if you don't believe them, right? I mean, I don't know. There are people that say things that they act differently. I mean, that's a fact. People act differently at different times, let's say. They're swayed to and fro by different arguments, and there's there seems to be a logic to healthy human behavior. Healthy human behavior, are those the words, the right words? Human behavior has a optimum function or state of being, right? Once anger and hatred, like irrational anger and hatred, are gone, right? Once that is gone, then humans can start agreeing and cooperating, right? Agreeing and cooperating. There are misunderstandings, and how do you get through all the misunderstandings? How do you get people to fess up when they have been wrong? It's a supreme humility, or it's almost like a supernatural endowment. Like, how could you really forgive? How could you really forgive some of those things? Like some of the worst things you can imagine, right? Never mind. Let's not go there, but there are people suffering in this world. All of us have suffered, so we know it. And if that could stop, period, right? If everybody in the world who is suffering right now, unlike, many who watch this kind of stuff are not suffering that bad. We all have things we suffer. We all go through things that stress and cause heightened emotions or whatever, and often irrational action. So it starts with overlooking past wrongs, even when you've been wronged. We've all been wronged, so we know. Sometimes unintentionally, sometimes very intentionally. Can you forgive the intentional wrongs? Right? All right. Set my cutoff point. I think we're there. There we go.